It is early March here in Chicago, and yesterday it was 70 degrees outside. Uh, Climate change is a hell of a thing. So, with spring coming very soon, it seems like I am sort of running out of time where I can sensibly drink heavily peated whiskey. So we're going to review a few today while I still am not, like a sweaty human mess. And in particular, I wanted to review this McCarthy's Oregon single malt whiskey. I have reviewed McCarthy's before. Let me give you the backstory. So, McCarthy's from Clear Creek Distillery in Oregon. Really, really super important craft distillery. One of the first craft distill in that generation of craft distilleries in the post-war period. Mainly do fruit brandies, fruit eau de vie. But Steve McCarthy, the founder and the original master distiller, was a huge fan of peated Islay whiskeys way before that style was popular. We're talking like, I guess, the late 80s. And so he sourced some Islay barley, peated Islay barley, and made his own. This. But this is a barrel pick, actually, and it is a rum barrel. I don't know what distillery of what kind of rum barrel exactly. Is this Jamaica? Is this Cuba? What is this exactly? I don't know. But it's a rum barrel pick from the aficionados group. Full disclosure, I'm on that Discord. I did not pick this, but I'm on the Discord. And yeah, 5.6 years old. I want to review this, but it needs a sparring partner. What I'm gonna do? Well, let's as long as like this is so far as I know still sourced Islay peated barley from the Port Ellen Maltings. They got this while they were still selling to non-Diageo producers. But we can do just a straightforward, actual Islay peated malt as a competitor. This is the Portiskeag, 110 proof from. It's Caol Ila. Everyone knows this. It's Caol Ila. If you ever see an Islay whiskey out there that does not have a distillery name on it, it's probably Caol Ila. Unless there's reason to think otherwise. It says Laugh Frog on there, and it's really super duper expensive. Unless it proves otherwise, assume it's Caol Ila. And Port Askeag is actually just like that place where Caol Ila is, so they're kind of making it easy for you. Anyways, this is 110 proof. Weirdly enough, bottled at lower alcohol than the 100 proof available in the UK, because 100 proof in the British proof system is actually higher than 110 in the American system. Don't ask me how this works. So it's a very young, high proof Caol Ila is basically what this is. And you will look at me and you will say, but that's not fair. This McCarthy's pick is not inexpensive. It's like over $100. And the Portiskeag here, it's no non-age stated, still pretty young, but much cheaper. So this does not seem like a fair fight here. That's a good argument right there. So I'm going to also throw in Octomore 10.2, aged in. They don't actually say ex-bourbon. They say ex-American whiskey barrels, and then for 4 years, and then 4 years in ex-Sauterne. So this should be fun. Let me get to pouring these. So we got a big old Islay, cross Islay, Oregon shootout thing with some fun casks going on. Thank you for being patient with me while I pour these. I do have my notes right here, so I'm all set to go. All right. Okay, look. First of all, look at the difference in color. If I can pick all three of these up, I don't know if I can. Between all three, look at the color on these two versus the color on the Portuguese. I think that kind of says it all in terms of like the activeness of the casks. All right, let's dig into this. Portuguese, 110 proof American edition. This is lot number. It's somewhere on here. It's barely visible, but yeah, it's lot L20/0315. So presumably bottled 2020. I would guess March. All right, 55%. Very little information on this, but let's go. It's super reasonably priced and has good distribution. Let's go. And yeah, it smells like super duper young Caol Ila, and I'm okay with that. It smells like, well, mild peat. This is not like super duper aggressive Laphroaig peat, Ardbeg peat. It's not that like, it's not like the base note that kind of underlays everything else that is going on. It's just kind of one thing in the mix that's kind of adding its own color. Yeah, good mild maritime peat. It's kind of like a rocky, like a crushed crush up some seashells. That's what this smells like. There's like a lemony thing, but you know that like oysters with a little bit of lemon squirted on top of them? That is what this smells like. Little hint of vanilla. I mean, it's super duper young. It very much has just a like almost an Isla Eau de Vie kind of character to it. There's very little oak influence. Beyond the vanilla and just like maybe a rounding effect. Yeah, it's very new makey. There's like this creamy shortbread thing, but nice. Yeah, I mean it's very new makey, but nice. Yeah, honestly, this kind of reminds me most of back in the. Do you remember like Finn Lagan back in the day? Like the last couple of bottles of Finn Lagan I tried were uncomfortable. They had some aggressive floral soapy off notes, but this reminds me of what it was back when I was young and fresh and I guess God knows when. Like early batches of Finn Lagan. That's kind of what this reminds me of. So still super duper young, but it's kind of pulling it off. Yeah, white pepper. There's a little bit of a little dash of like absinthe in there. So there's some licoricey things, but there's more to it. It's absinthe. And that's kind of all there is to it. It's not. There's a richness to this, but it's really mostly coming from the distillate. It's very primary, and that's okay. I'm into this. On the palate. So really, I picked this to kind of set the tone for the battle between the next two. But actually, this is kind of this is actually quite good. It's very sweet, and it's not like a cask sweet. This is like boozy new makey sweet. But I'm into it. It totally works for what it is. So peat, yeah. Um, a little bit of vanilla fudge, absinthe, but also a little bit of salted licorice in there. There's almost like a donut thing, like a fatty fried boozy, peaty donut thing happening in this. It's yeah, that kind of minerally thing, the crushed sea shells thing. That's there again. Little lemon peel, little squirt of like a kiwi juice, maybe. Some kind of tea, like a roasted oolong. Just a little spoonful of like a roasted oolong tea. That kind of like boozy new Mickey shortbread thing. Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's not complex. Well, there's complexity, but it's all primary stuff. This is all distillate. The oak is adding very very little here. The aging is adding very very little here. Um, but it's it's very very crushable, and for a cheap young Isla whiskey, this is pretty darn perfect. For the price point, I'm actually kind of impressed with what this is. I'm going to give this some water. We'll come back to it. I don't know if I want to do 5. 4. I'll probably end up at 4.5. Yeah, 4.5. Yep. Okay. Moving on to the Octomore. Octomore, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm Scotch Irish heritage, but the Gaelic is not there. All right, Octomore 10.2. This is circa 2020 or so. And again, it's 8 years old, which is pretty darn old by Octomore standards. My own history with Octomore is I haven't tried one in probably close to a decade. And the one I did a lineup of a bunch, and I I liked a bunch of them were just like wine casks, and I thought they were god awful. Interesting, but god awful. And then the ones that were more conventional, there was like a bourbon cask one, which was fine. But it also seemed like it's as ashy and as it is like peaty, and it just struck me as the kind of distillate where it really would need like a lot of time in like some kind of refill cask to really show what it had. But like that's not what brings the money in fastest. So let's smash it with fast soak as quick as we can. Anyways, this is 4 years in ex-US whiskey, so presumably American oak. 4 years in Sauterne, which is Bordeaux noble rot white wine based dessert wine. And what's interesting in this is the ppm. This is only 96.9% no, percent 96.9 parts per million of peat, which is by Octomore standards relatively low. The ones I had were all up in at least over 100. So you're getting wine cask and you're getting a slightly less peaty example of Octomore. So I'm darn curious to try this. 56.9% alcohol. Here we go. Ooh. This smells like ashy golden raisins. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. There's a little tinge of like tangerine in this too. The peat, the actual peat note is surprisingly restrained. I'm actually getting less peat on the nose of this than I was with the Porter which is way less peaty, at least in before distillation. Yeah, more raisins, apricots, mirabelles. There's some fresh mushrooms in here. That's a Sauterne note. People don't associate that, especially once you get into like Premier Cru Sauterne, the good stuff, not necessarily Dechem, because there's other good Sauternes out there. But once you get into like Premier Cru Sauterne that's had a little bit of age on it, you do get some mushroomy notes, and I'm sort of getting that. It's really the Sauterne that's kind of dominating the nose at this point. There's a little bit of ashiness in the background. Lemon drops. No, the Octomore is there. There's like a nice black pepper, ashy hit kind of mixing in there. It's interesting. This is shifting quite a lot on me as I kind of nose this. Candied yams, of all things. There's some. Oh, there's actually quite a bit of like barley graininess to this, like kind of slightly citric barley. Peach cobbler, absolutely. A little bit of honey. What is that? I don't know. Some kind of honey. I'm tempted to try to nail it down, but it is some kind of honey. And then if you keep swirling this, it gets a little bit floral. There's like a handful of daisies that come out. Um, a little hint of vanilla too, like one vanilla bean thrown into the mix. Um, Interesting. So the Portiskeag was very, very, very primary. Like the most of the character I was getting was just coming from the distillate. This I was expecting to be, aggressively Octomori, and it just kind of isn't. A lot of what is happening, if it smells like the cask is running the show here. It smells very Sauterny on the palate. Mm. On the palate, ooh, on the palate, it's much more mixed. There's much more of a battle going on. It is um, peat, ash, pepper, and a little bit of like a sour dairy, sour yogurt thing. Just a little bit of that lactic thing you get sometimes in Bruichladdich. That's in there. And that's kind of going up against just piles and piles and piles of fruit. And, honey, definitely. So different honeys: apricot, peach, raisin, lemon peel, maybe some pineapple in there. Just a little pineapple. Lightly grainy, subtly grainy. Oh, it's kind of cooling actually. Like on the finish, on the aftertaste, it's actually kind of like cooling my mouth down. So there's a little bit of mint happening. We're not talking fresh mint leaves. We're talking like like minty toothpaste, not hippie toothpaste this time. Just like straight, like you just took a shot of Colgate or something, and there's that minty aftertaste. That's kind of what's going on. Um, the mouth, the presence in the mouth of this is interesting. It's the mouth feels very oily. It's kind of pretty rich. The finish hangs on, especially with that kind of um, minty cooling, but also at the same time ashy thing. The mouth length is a little bit short. Most of what's happening in my mouth is kind of right at the front. Um, I would say that's down to the youth, but I didn't recall seeing that kind of thing happening with the Portishead, which is probably even younger than this. In fact, I would be shocked if the Octomore was not the oldest thing on the table here, um, at 8 years. Okay, so that's a little bit surprising. I was expecting um, more. Well, not more peat, more of that ashy peaty thing that more octomoriness to this. I'm not mad. I don't know why this needed to be an octomore. Put it that way. But we'll come back to it. I'm gonna add some water. 2, 3, 4. I would think this will take 5. Mm-hmm. Close enough. Might pull 2 or 3 drops out of that if I could, but it doesn't matter. And now, the one that I really wanted to, that was supposed to be the center of this review, McCarthy's Aficionado's Pick, former rum barrel. This was bottled in October 23rd, 2023, so quite recently. Barrel number 702, 61.4% alcohol by volume, 5.6 years old, which is like 5 years, 7 months? What is that? Whatever. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So again, peated Scottish barley, Islay barley. Let's see what we got here. So yeah, okay. This is kind of turning into a war of like weird casks. I'm all here for it. The Octomore was throwing Sauterne at me like hard. This is throwing like rum at me hard. Like it smells like peaty RC cola, and I am all here for it. That is so fun. I'm getting cola cubes, white pepper, a little touch of fennel in there, a little bit of a sea breeze, and all of this makes me think, oh, rum. Like, what kind of rum? I don't think this is Jamaica. It's if I had to nail like if I had to pick one, I would think Barbados or something. I don't really know. So it smells like there's all these elements in there that makes me think rum, maybe Barbados or something, but it's peated at the same time. It's got that kind of modest peat note, kind of Caol Ila peat. It's the same kind of modest peat level. No. Okay, so beyond the rum notes, there's a little bit of a graininess, a lot of a graininess actually, like cream of wheat with like cinnamon and molasses, which is awesome, by the way. Go try that if you've never done it. And yeah, just a lot of the stuff I would associate with like, I don't know, like a really good Mount Gay, like Mount Gay XO or something. Fun. And just a hint of flowers, little hint of floral something. Fun, interesting. Okay, let's see what happens in the palate. I don't know, Octomore. Ooh, wow. Okay, so first of all, this is very desserty. It's very decadent and just like shamelessly delicious. So if you like your peaty malts to be just austere as a MFer, you know what I'm talking about? This may not be the one for you. It's very, very delicious. But that is not what's kind of getting me about this. What's getting me is the mouth presence. This has terrific mouth presence. Man, for something that is not even 6 years old. Finish is excellent. Mouthfeel is excellent. The mouth length is excellent. This is attacking the back of my throat, and I appreciate that. In terms of the breadth of notes, the complexity, it's not doing too bad either. RC Cola. What is that? Just kind of like mud and some mud and pebbles, basically. Dark chocolate, black pepper, black licorice, black olive, black everything. Tobacco, like a stoved black Cavendish. Yeah, this is good. Cream of wheat again. S'mores. With like burned marshmallow, super duper dark chocolate. Like, I've never made a s'more with like friggin' 95% cacao dark chocolate, but now I kind of want to. And of course, that kind of a maritime peat thing. Little pineapple sort of pops up on the mid palate for a second, which is kind of fun. Then it's gone. There's been some pretty darn high scores on this going around the Discord and the Reddit, and I want to be a skeptic because I'm that kind of guy. But this is kind of winning me over. The notes are fun on their own, but the mouth presence on this, I think as I get older, I become more and more like a texture, mouth feel, mouth presence kind of guy, and this is just acing that. Really, really good. I don't know if it's as complex as the Octomore. We'll go back through these, see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 might be too much. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna go like 3 drops more, maybe 4. Yeah, let's stop there. This is fun. All right. Good lineup here. It's yeah, good lineup here. Let's super duper young. All of these are super duper young. You're not getting what we in the wine world would call tertiary notes on anything here. It's very, very like you're getting the cool, weird oaky stuff on these two, and you're getting just the weight of the distillate, and I'm kind of okay with that. All right, back to the Port Skeg. 110. Now with a little bit of water. All right, let's see what we got here. Did I even say what kind of barrels these are? Absolutely not. Elixir Distillers. There is no Port Skeg distillery. Nope, no information on barreling whatsoever. But if there's anything in this other than like straightforward American oak, I wasn't getting it before at least. Let's see what happens if we get anything else now. Pretty much exactly the same on the nose. Take some oysters, peat smoke them, squirt lemon on top of them, and then bury them in crushed seashells. That's kind of the note on this. Maybe it's a little bit more tropical fruit going on, a little bit of A little bit more kiwi happening. Like nice gestures at maybe some guava. I mean, most of what this is just a really kind of naked example of Isla whiskey of Kalila, and I like that. I'm into that. On the palate, I don't know how old this is, but it is not old at all. Very young, super duper creamy mouthfeel. Um, it's like that kind of new makey creaminess. It's totally showing that. But it works. I mean, it's got the character of the distillate is fantastic. Like Kalila makes millions of liters of alcohol a year, and but the level of quality that is going into that alcohol is just crazy for the scale. Yeah, very similar to what it was. Not a ton of development, but it's a super duper young whiskey. That's not super surprising. Maybe a little bit more pepper now. Um, I have no complaints about what this whatsoever, especially for the price, especially for what it is. I'm gonna give this 86 points. 86 points out of 100. Yeah, I wasn't expecting a ton from this, but it's delightful. If this is what you're looking for, like go out, grab it. Prices are good. All right, moving on. Back to the Octomore. I gotta be honest, like Octomore is so much more expensive to make because you're peating the barley for days, and often they're using heritage varietals and things like that. So it's really expensive barley to produce. But in this lineup, the first time around, I wasn't really digging this that much more than the Port of Skeg. Let's see if that changes with water. Whoa. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I was getting a mint thing on the palate of this before, but not really on the nose. Now I'm getting on the nose. Like this smells like mint and like orange candy. Oh, and also ashy peat. And that's kind of most of what's going on. A little bit of my beloved pineapple. Anytime you throw pineapple in me in the context of like a peaty whiskey, I'm gonna be happy. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm down with this. Let's. Oh, yeah. It's a delicious smell. It's a wonderful. I mean, my only so clearly right now I'm completely sold on peat plus sauterne casks, not finishes. Give it a full maturation, or at least a long secondary maturation. I'm sold on that. What I'm not sold on is that this needs to be like a Octomore, because it feels like the character of the distillate is being a little bit lost here. Yeah, a lot of this is cask, and that's fine. It's delicious, but a lot of this is cask, and it's an Octomore. All right, on the palate. Yeah, this is good. Um, So the first go around without water, it felt a little bit like a clash, like a healthy clash, but a clash between the big fruity honeyed casky elements and the peaty malty elements. Now they're more integrated. They're kind of working together. Um, the ash and the fruit are hand in hand. In terms of like development, not a ton. It's still got a good finish, good mouthfeel, but the length is still a hair bit short. I like the integration of the flavors. That's really the plus for me on adding water here. I mean, this is a very good, pretty darn complex, young, decadent, peated malt whiskey. And I like it. I do. But yeah, like the question that keeps coming to my head is, does this need to be Octomore? I mean, the paradox of Octomore for me, not that I've had a ton, but my from my experience has been like it's a way to make an extremely full distillate, right? You're just hammering and hammering peat into this barley, so you can have an incredibly characterful, new make. But then, like, they take that, and a lot of the results are just so colored by the casks they go into. These incredibly active casks, and so I end up kind of asking myself, like why am I spending the money for this complex distillation process when most of what's coming through that is just cask influence. I don't know. I don't know about that. But this is delicious. I don't think it needed to be Octomore. Let's leave it at that. This could have been a Port Charlotte and it'd be fine. 87 plus. 87 plus for this Octomore 10.2. Actually, you could have thrown this Portascaig into similar Sauternes barrels for 4 years. I would think you would breach something of similar quality. I really do. All right, moving on though. We're gonna taste the McCarthy's one more time. Rum Carthy's. Here we go. Now with water. Ooh. Okay. With water, there's some there's some graininess happening, really like a grassiness. Actually, there's a little bit of like a dried grass thing, dried plantains. It's really the graininess that's getting me because I wasn't getting that before on the nose. Maybe some sweet potatoes, some really really vivid sweet potatoes, like earthy, classy. I like this. But like it wasn't the notes necessarily that were getting me about this the first time around. It was the presence. So let's see what happens now. Get out of here. Yeah, this is just terrific whiskey. I don't know what else to say. With water, the mouthfeel, the presence in the mouth is even better, if anything. whole time tasting this, I've been flirting with a 90 because the presence in the mouth is right there. That intensity, that kind of grip. But I don't think I can get there on this. I don't think the range of flavors is quite broad enough. I don't think it brings quite enough intensity to get to that 90. But damn, is this good. This is darn close. It's so good. I appreciate these Octomore, but as an example of a more decadent style of PD malt, I think this is better. And oh, by the way, it's cheaper. So yeah, I'm gonna give this 89 plus. 89 plus out of 100, right there. Highly recommended, worth the grab if this is your jam. And yeah, that's the video. I guess I'll see you next year when it cools back down again and I can review peaty whiskeys. And it means something. Again, thanks for watching and cheers.